Good evening, race fans, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Area 51 Xfinity Super Speedway Series here on Green White Checker TV. I will be your host for this evening, myself, Boomer Logan. Should be joined by Matt in just a moment here, and we are looking forward to our first return trip here tonight at Daytona International Speedway, the world center of racing, the 2.5-mile oval here tonight in the Super Speedway Series. We saw a really great race here the last time Steven Karosik took the checkered flag for the first victory of the 2024 Season 2 here on Thursday nights, and then he backed it up with another win at Talladega Super Speedway. Do not see him at the moment in the entry list for tonight, but there are a lot of other names that are going to be very hungry to try and get a win here tonight. We've got... Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a shorter field here tonight, but still nonetheless going to be plenty of action. These drivers are taking to the high banks of Daytona right now and setting those qualifying times, getting ready for 75 laps here tonight on a very cool and calm 70-degree night in the sim, in the virtual world here on iRacing. Going to be about another minute and 15 seconds before we get to your starting grid. You see the panorama, the beautiful view from the blimp. Thank you to Whiplash SimCams on board with us this season. And we'll get a nice full screen shot of that beautiful view. Obviously, it's just the virtual world, but still, nonetheless, a very gorgeous, very iconic racetrack here in Daytona Beach, Florida. And should be a lot of fun as we get ready to go here tonight. Again, mentioned already, 75 laps, the standard scheduled distance for our most of our ovals here. Obviously, Talladega and Daytona will do 75 laps. Atlanta will do 90 because it's a little bit shorter. And then we'll do 70 laps there at iRacing Super Speedway, which we saw over the last couple weeks has been a pretty crazy schedule. Obviously, iRacing Super Speedway never disappoints. Was a great race that we saw last week. A lot of chaos that kind of happened out of nowhere, but also some really good long green flag runs in the middle, and a really solid race that we got to see, and hoping to see a little bit more of that here tonight at Daytona. Obviously, one of the tracks that we go to the most here in this series. We've got Daytona on the schedule 4 times. We've got Talladega on the schedule 3 times. 3 times, and then we've got Atlanta on the schedule 3 times, and iRacing Super Speedway just twice. So kind of manage some of that chaos at iRacing Super Speedway, but we'll be back one more time this season as we get into the second of 4 races here at Daytona tonight. And it looks like our qualifying session has just completed, and we are starting to take to these race cars as the drivers are getting in, and their vehicles are appearing on pit road here. So you see the number 1 starting spot there as we pull up the grid. It is going to be the 88 of Gabe Butler. He's going to grab that pole just ahead of his teammate Eric Laurie in the 071. A couple Team Budnaka eSport drivers sharing the front row for tonight. Tom Dixon of Team Extreme Racing, he's going to grab the inside of row number 2. Dude Conrad, another driver with the Team Budnaka eSports guys, are going to be he's going to be on the outside of row number 2. You see Bud Steele there in the number 6 Ford Mustang. He's going to be on the inside of row number 3, starting in the top 5 for Roswell Motorsports, with Ryan Decker, also of Roswell Motorsports, to his outside in the number 48. Patrick Groover and Rick Sanchez, they are going to share row number 4 of the starting grid tonight. Rick obviously grabbing that win last week and looking forward to see if he can be the second repeat winner of this season so far. Dean Wilkinson in the TW Motorsports entry, he's going to be in the inside of row number 5 with Carl Lingle, the last car starting in your top 10 tonight. He hails from Pennsylvania. As we look back to the 6th row, Mike Rimkus and Nick Wing, the 79 and the 28, they'll be starting side by side back there. And we'll pull up that second page of the grid here. Frank Ranger Jr. will be the last driver to qualify on time. The rest will be based off of iRating. And the top of the iRating is Seth Groover. He's going to get the 14th starting spot in that number 32 machine. He's going to have a little bit to climb there to get up to his brother, but nonetheless we will see if they can link up later tonight. Jasper Riza, he's going to start inside the top 15, inside of row number 8, one of the newer faces to this league, and found us through the broadcast. Appreciate him joining, and had some good runs in the past couple weeks. Unfortunately, had some bad luck there last week, but was up front and starting to contend, so we'll see if he can make his way back up the front in this one. Ambrose Kniebel there of Blind Squirrel Racing, he's going to start on the outside of row number 8. And then we've got Bob Fitzgerald and Brandon Briggs, who will round out the starting grid for your 18-car field here tonight as we start to make our way around the speedway. Pace car is ahead of our leaders, and we'll bring up the tower so you can see that scoring pylon as we get ready for the green flag. So again, 75 laps here. We've seen somewhere in the 20 to 22 laps range for fuel. Obviously going to depend on how the yellow flags fall and if they do fall at all. So we'll see. I mean, obviously we've seen a mixed bag of quite a bit of different things in this series. Typically we do get to see a lot of green flag action here on Thursday nights, especially in the Xfinity cars, but who knows, when it gets down to business at the end, everybody's trying to grab that last spot, that last point in the championship standings, or just going for the win. It can get a little hectic on these super speedways, and anything can happen, as I'm sure we'll get to see a very great race tonight. So the first of 75 laps will be underway just shortly as the drivers pull off of turn number 4. The iRacing official pace car is going to duck to pit road, and we will be underway. And the pace car dives down into pit road. You'll see the 88 pick up speed. The nose carries in the air as they get underway across the stripe to start lap number 1 here tonight. Gabe Butler again starting from that pole position. He has got the 411 of Tom Dixon with a really good run side by side through out the field as they get into turn number 1 here. And we will see how long the pole sitter can keep that lead. Already got a bit of a discussion between well, it's Ryan Decker's account, but it's Caitlin and Ryan together as we see there's a caution already on the racetrack. We're going to have to rewind this back and see what happened back here, but I see in SDK it's showing that Patrick Groover went off track. Let's see if we can rewind and figure out what happened here. And see, because this was unexpected very early on, obviously. We'll zoom out a bit here and see if we can understand what happened. So we're getting up to speed in the tri-oval here, coming into the short chute. And you see Ryan Decker in the 5 lineup on the outside. No one around the 54. And we'll just have to watch and see exactly what happens here. Because that was a very, very early incident that I don't think we were expecting to see. I wonder if it's a missed shift there. You see potentially the motor blowing there for the 54, and unfortunately the 55 is going to be involved as well. That's other than, it looked like it was that 3rd gear to 4th gear shift as they were getting up onto the banking in turn 1. It definitely is something that can be easy to do. I did it myself, actually, in these cars at my first attempt in the broadcast car. So, definitely, I'm assuming that's what it is. Obviously, could be anything, but with that puff of white smoke, could just be a mistake there in the shifting. But hopefully, Patrick can get back out there with that fast repair, and we'll jump back live. So, this gives everybody a little bit of opportunity to save some fuel early on. That'll definitely help. Won't be surprised if anybody comes in to top off on fuel because it's obviously pretty early, and you'll see the 6 of Bud Steele do exactly that, followed by Ryan Decker, Rick Sanchez, Nick Wing, Seth Groover, Jasper Riza, and a few more coming in to pit road here trying to get a little extra fuel and try and see if they can stretch it to one last stop. As of right now, it doesn't really seem like they'd be able to stretch it one less stop. Obviously, that magical field number around 20 to 22 laps or so, give or take, depending on your position if you're leading. Obviously, you're going to burn a lot more fuel if you're further back in the pack, and you can save a little more fuel. You don't have to run full throttle to stay with everybody else with the way the draft works, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't think, like I said, I don't think that's going to be enough to stretch to one less pit stop, but it's definitely going to be a couple extra laps of fuel here for the likes of Bud Steele, Ryan Decker, Rick Sanchez on back. It looks like Patrick Groover is getting a tow back to pit road, so we'll have to double check on that. Hopefully, I know iRacing's been a little weird lately. Sometimes when you get to pit road, it clears your fast repair. So hopefully that is not the case for him, and he's able to get that car repaired and back on track immediately and get back in this one. But definitely an unfortunate start to the race there for the 54. But plenty of time if he can get that fast repair and get back out on track. You see some of our leaders here electing to stay on pit road and save a little bit of fuel. But, well, it's an early caution break, but give us a chance here for a quick commercial break here as well. And we'll hear about one of our newest sponsors, Sensi.
At Sensi, we love fragrance, how it makes us feel, how it connects us to our deepest memories, how sharing those memories connects us with each other.
And as it turns out, there's a lot of people who feel the same way and share Sensi's core values of simplicity, authenticity, and generosity. Our beautiful campus in Meridian, Idaho welcomes employees, consultants, and the community year-round.
That's why we've grown from selling just warmers and wax to selling a complete line of products, so you can fill your life with fragrance no matter where your day takes you.
Whether it's fun partnerships with beloved brands, innovative, high-performing cleaning products, laundry care that smells as good as it works, or personal care products to create your signature scent, Sensi products are made to share.
Maybe that's why our culture has always felt like family. We call it Sensi Spirit. It's a feeling of love, acceptance, generosity, and community that we share freely with everyone we meet. And we welcome you to experience it yourself. Like it? Buy the product. Love it? Host a get-together with your friends. Want more? Start your own Sensi business. You can earn amazing trips around the world and rewards. You can work your business whenever and wherever you want, giving you more time for the things and people that matter most. Ask your Sensi consultant for more info.
You see the QR code there at the top of the screen under commercial break. Obviously, that goes back to Caitlin Decker, and definitely help for sure from them. Appreciate them bringing Sensi on board with us here. Definitely a great sponsor to add to our broadcast, and appreciate Caitlin and all that she's done to help out there. Again, that QR code, I believe, as I understand, it goes back to her account and Sensi and helps her out a little bit. So be sure to check out what they got, all the great products they have on sale there. But as we get back from commercial break, we are ready to go. Pace car is already off. We're going to try this again, see if we can get through turn number 1 and get a full completed green flag lap here. Early caution there as we saw the 54. He is still looks like in his pit stall. Unfortunately, maybe had some issues with getting that fast repair. Sometimes that happens. Unfortunately, if you try to tow, sometimes it clears the fast repair, and I think that's something that iRacing needs to figure out, unfortunately. But assuming that is the issue of the 54, is he is not back on track. But we are green flag through the backstretch at least. You see the 411 of Tom Dixon. He's got a good push from Dude Conrad working that high lane right now as they enter into turn 3. But the 88 has a good push from the 071 on the bottom, and he is going to surge ahead. And he is going to try and continue to click off some laps. Led here has led the first 4 under yellow flag, and now will be leading the 5th lap. But a hard charge on the outside from the 411 and the 8 as they have the 5 of Rick Sanchez lined up out there. in the outside lane. A little bit of a disconnect there for a few others, but there's a few others, little stragglers further on back in the outside lane. And this is your field, your 17 cars that are on the speedway right now. Just taking it easy, obviously kind of a fluke early caution, but doesn't seem like there's too much urgency just yet, and understandably so, as we're not even past the 1/10 mark in this one tonight. Working on lap 6 right now as Gabe Butler continues to lead us around here at this historic 2.5 mile oval. More organization from Frank Ranger Jr. on back in that outside lane now at this point. That number 17, he's got the help of 81 of Brandon Briggs and Jasper Reza. They are in the outside lane all lined up together. As you see the shot down the back straightaway. Bud Steele on back. And Ryan Decker, Bob Fitzgerald, Nick Wing, Seth Gruber just kind of hanging out in the back here, just waiting for, just kind of riding, saving some fuel, seeing what will happen up front, giving themselves plenty of space if any chaos were to happen ahead of them. But at the front of the field, it's still Team Butanaki Esports. It's Gabe Butler and Eric Laurie trying to control that inside lane, continuing to click off laps led for them. The 411, the 8, and the 5 in the outside lane make a little progress down the ends of the straightaways and the short chutes, but obviously the 88 and 071 are very strong on the bottom of the speedway, the quickest way around, whereas the high side's obviously the fastest way around. There's a unique distinction there as you see the 411 is going to get a little bit of a push here. Don't think he's going to be able to have enough to clear the 88 as they get into turn 3, but we will stay side by side most of the field now, even further on back to the 32. So we were back in 15th. He is joining that outside lane, trying to make some progress there, as it looks like there's a good enough of a run. I think the 411 is actually going to get his first lap led of the night there on lap number 8, completing it, and now starting on lap 9, and he's going to jump to the bottom to cover the 88. That's going to promote Dude Conrad to the lead in the outside lane. He's got Rick Sanchez and Brandon Briggs in tow as they come out of turn number 2 and try to make a charge down the back straightaway. Dude Conrad getting a good push from the 5 of Rick Sanchez. He should be able to lead this lap here. So a lap led for the 8 of Team Butanaki Esports, as he's trying to get clear, not quite of the 411 to get down. He's going to hold on to that top spot in the outside lane at the moment. The 411 surges ahead with the push through turns 1 and 2. Still the 88, the 071, Mike Rimkus, and the 79 there. 4 cars in the inside lane. The outside lane is the 8 of Dude Conrad, Rick Sanchez, Brandon Briggs, and Jasper Reza. And those are pretty much the only ones that are side by side at this moment. The outside lane breaking up just a little bit there. As you see, the top 2 cars in the bottom lane are out ahead, as Gabe Butler is now going to jump to the high side, grab his teammate, and he's going to try and promote himself back up to this lead here. Curious if that might have been a planned move by the 8 to pick up his teammate and bring him back to the front, but we'll have to wait and see, as they may have enough room to both get cleared down, and they do make the move into turn 1 there. So Rick Sanchez is going to be first car in the outside lane now, but he is going to be further back, 3-car breakaway in the inside lane. The 81 of Brandon Briggs is going to see what kind of head of steam he can gather down this backstretch here, as the 411 is going to try and just keep playing leapfrog with our leaders, and they're going to go 3 wide. The 5 is going to split them, and I don't think anybody else is going to go with Rick Sanchez. The 81's kind of making his move decision. He's going to stick with the 411 for now. Jasper Reza is going to go in the middle, and it's going to be Seth Gruber that's going to grab the outside lane with Rick Sanchez. And we'll see this first time that third lane is a little tight there. First time that third lane's kind of being formed. We are rolling there, but the 88 now ahead of the 5 as the 5 fades on back just a little bit. The 04, 68, 81 side by side through turns 1 and 2. Little bit of a touch maybe between the 81 and the 68. And that third lane is fizzling out pretty quickly here. As you see a little more sliding around down the backstretch, 2 by 2. The 8 and the 88, the 071 now broken away three teammates in the inside lane. You got a couple Blind Squirrel Racing teammates there, the 30 and the 04, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Frank Ranger Jr. is in that pack as well, separated by the lone wolf of Rick Sanchez running without a partner for tonight. So there's those three Blind Squirrel Racing drivers in the inside lane. In the outside lane, it's still the 411 of Tom Dixon trying to work with Jasper Riza and the 32 of Seth Groover to make something happen. That third lane formed for just a minute, but obviously fizzled out pretty quickly here as pretty much everybody is now single file in the inside lane. It's still a little early to start thinking about those pit stops, but obviously that's something that's always kind of in the back of your mind. You know, it's lap 13 here. Some drivers pit at lap 3 there under caution and have, obviously it's not going to be 3 laps and green flag left, but I would think that most of our drivers who did not pit are probably going to be able to go to, let's say, maybe 22, 23 laps. That's a bit of a guess. I don't have any field numbers in front of me. And then obviously it'd be 3 more laps at least for the likes of Brandon Briggs, Bud Steele, Ryan Decker, actually Jasper Riza also pitting later. So he is well up in the mix there. First car who did get extra fuel, as well as Seth Groover there. So they're going to try and see what they can do. Is one is ducking down to the bottom. It looks like that's Ambrose Knievel. He has gone to the inside. Not entirely sure what's happened there for him. Let's see if we can rewind and see if we can make sense of what happened for the 04 there. Not exactly sure if that was an issue, an overheating issue, or a connection issue, but the 04 has pulled off of the speedway, it looks like. I don't know if we can make sense of it from the replay or not, but we'll take a look as he gets off of turn number 2. Pulls down the back straightaway, and you see him lifting there with the flames you see out of the right side of the car. Not entirely sure what's going on there, but yeah, some sort of issue for the 04. I'm assuming it's not likely an in-sim issue. Might be a connection or a hardware issue. I mean, obviously we're just kind of speculating at this point, but unfortunate for Ambrose, he's going to pull off early as we'll jump back live and get back to the action here. So Tom Dixon is at the head of the field. Most of the outside lane has fizzled out now. It's Tom Dixon, Gabe Butler, Duke Conrad, Eric Glory, Jasper Riza as they run. Heading through turns 1 and 2. A little bit of a few clouds in sight, but that sun going down and should be a nice transition into nighttime for us here. As you see, everybody is starting to get back settled down and getting ready for those pit stops, which should be coming in the next 10 laps or so. A little bit of a disconnect back to Frank Ranger Jr. behind Jasper Riza. You see Brandon Briggs, the 6 of Bud Steele, Ryan Decker here, and then further on back is Nick Wing and catching back up, but Bob Fitzgerald and Dean Wilkinson are a little bit off the pace here, but not too far away that they can't catch back up, I don't think. But definitely falling off a little bit off the back of the pack there. But the only one working in the outside lane is the 68 and the 81, as pretty much everybody else is just kind of settled in for some single file action at the moment. Tom Dixon's clicking off more laps led for himself, having a pretty solid night starting up front here. In the third position, he's up 2 spots. He's in the lead at the moment. Some of our other highest climbers include Brandon Briggs there. He's up 8 spots in the 10th position as it's scored. And Jasper Riza is going to be up 7 spots in the 8th position at the moment. And now promote Brandon Briggs up to, yeah, he's jumping between 9th and 10th, but that's 8 points there in 10th. 8 gain spots there in 10th. And working on lap number 18 right now. Heading down the back straightaway. There really hasn't been a ton of urgency. Obviously, we saw that early issue. Oh, actually, we see Seth Groover coming into pit lane now himself. He's on pit lane all by himself. Not sure if there was an incident, but there must have been, because it says he actually jumped to pit road. So not sure what happened there for him. I don't think we'll be able to rewind that too easily, so unfortunately we'll have to gloss over it. But yeah, that's unfortunate for Seth Groover. Had to jump to the pits, and that's about all I can see without spending a lot of time trying to find where that exact moment is. Sometimes the timestamps in SDK don't really allow for clean replays, unfortunately, but there's a little more urgency now in this pack. As you see, the 5 and the 68 have jumped to the outside lane now. We've got 2x2 about 5 rows deep, so the top 10 all here in a group, and I think some of these guys are going to go long. You see Ryan Decker there, and the 6 of Bud Steele, the 28 of Nick Wing. Those are some of the guys that came in and pit under that yellow flag, so they're looking to try and make a charge towards the front of the pack, still saving a little bit of fuel because they know they can go a little bit farther, but it's more advantageous for them to pit obviously closer to the front of the pack with that track position, and we'll see how far they can get before they have to pit here. But Tom Dixon still comfortable lead ahead of the 88 and the 8 of Gabe Butler and Dude Conrad. Rick Sanchez with Jasper Riza falling back a little bit. 3 cars broken away in the inside lane right now. And it's Tom Dixon and then the 3 Team Bootnaka Esports drivers there. As we're going to complete 20 laps here. And we are going to start lap 21 this time by. Again, expecting to see in the next 2 to 3 laps the drivers who did not pit, which include Tom Dixon, Gabe Butler, Dude Conrad, Eric Laurie, Michael Rimkus, Carl Wingle, and Frank Ranger Jr. Everybody else is either already out of this race or pit on lap 3 when we had that first caution. So we'll see. It'll be a little bit of a split strategy. It's not going to matter too much. Obviously, the guys who sit out longer are going to be able to go a couple extra laps, and they'll see if they are able to leapfrog this green flag pit cycle or not. But everyone, obviously the hiccup there with the broadcast, we are looking good now as, yeah, that in-lap and that out-lap makes such a huge difference, especially for track position, and definitely makes a big difference to where you net out in the field, and that magic 1 second gap or so. If you can stay within 1 second of the car ahead of you, you can latch onto their draft, and it makes a huge difference. Obviously, you can see the speeds in the draft are going to be much different than those drivers getting off and on pit lane. So it really always makes a huge difference to have that dancing partner with you. And I know obviously that's something that Matt and I typically try to touch on every single week. Is you'll see the guys that week in, week out practice that stuff. They're the ones that are typically gaining positions and always in the lead pack, and it's definitely an art form, and hopefully we get to see that here in a couple laps to see who executes those pit stops well. Pick up on the internet connection here, but it looks like we are still live. We'll double check on that here. And we're getting ready for pit stop cycles as the 411 is going to come in with Mike Rimkus. 2 of them are going to get into pit lane together. Working together tonight. That's going to leave Gabe Butler and company out on the speedway here, working on lap number 24. Expecting to see a few coming down this time by as well. Five of Rick Sanchez and the 68 of Jasper Riza are trying to get ahead of the field. Obviously, they pit on lap 3 during that yellow, so expecting them to stay out, but they're keeping that really good track position. And I expect Ryan Decker to kind of do the same, as it sounds like we got some pits called out. The 88 Team Bootnakas are going to be in this time by. And we'll watch and see if they get down to speed okay. A little bit of a lockup there for the 88, but I think everybody got down to speed okay. And that's going to leave pretty much everybody, again, that came in on that yellow flag. A little tight there for the 68 and the 48. But the 5 is leading this pack. Then it's the 68, the 48, the 28. The 6 and the 81 still on the speedway. And we see Tom Dixon got out well ahead of his teammate Mike Rimkus here. and might have been a little bit of a slide for Mike Rimkus. We saw smoke ahead of the leaders, so potentially a little bit of a slide off the pit road there, but he stays rolling, as we're going to see Rick Sanchez come down this time all by himself. That is going to be very tough, not having any drafting partners. He's going to have to do everything he can to latch onto a pack here, and that's unfortunate for him running by himself, no teammates tonight. Sometimes that's the dangers of what can happen, but we still stay green. The 48, the 28, the 6, the 68, and the 81 are still in this lead pack. They are running down Tom Dixon, and you see a couple cars rejoining the field. I believe that is the 17 of Frank Ranger Jr. They're passing. He's on the inside there, but they're going to get around Tom Dixon, who's going to pick up this draft and finally have some drafting partners before I think they're going to peel off here on lap 26. And no, we're going to see, so Jasper Riza and Brandon Briggs are going to come down, but ooh, little slide there for the 68, and a great save for him as they both get down to pit road speeds. Hopefully that wasn't any speeding for Jasper, but I think he got in okay. We'll have to wait and see as he gets into his box, and we'll see if there's any penalties from that. But Ryan Decker, Nick Wing, and Bud Steele are staying out long on this one. We're going to come about 40 seconds back. It looks like most of this pack is formed between Dude Conrad, Eric Laurie, Gabe Butler, Dean Wilkinson, and Carl Lingle. Rick Sanchez is just off of them, but he's got help of Bob Fitzgerald. And we will see how everybody cycles back to that, what will presumably be where the leaders are when we finish this green flag pit cycle, which we will on this lap. Finally, the 6, the 48, and the 28 are going to come in. A little bit of a squirrely moment there for the 48, but he collects it no problem. And these guys show you why they are honestly just about professionals with when it comes to green flag pit stops here. So Bud Steele is going to come in along with the 48, the 28, Nick Wing, Dude Conrad, and you see how much of a head of steam they have down the backstretch in this 5-car pack. It's going to be Dude Conrad, Eric Laurie, Gabe Butler, Dean Wilkinson, Carl Lingle, as mentioned before. Jasper Riza, we saw, does not have enough momentum to catch up to this pack, unfortunately. But Brandon Briggs is right there, the 5 of Rick Sanchez. They're going to go 3 wide for, nope, he's not going to look. He's going to go to the outside, the 5 is, and they're going to be 2 wide for now. But they are trying to catch back up to that lead pack. And as we come off of pit road here, we'll check and see where Nick Wing, Ryan Decker, and Bud Steele, they are very organized together, which really bodes well. I think that the guys behind them are going to have enough of a head of steam to catch them, but they should have no problems keeping with this lead pack. But look at the organization for the 28, the 48, and the 6 to come out that close to each other after a green flag pit cycle. That is incredible execution for those guys. As you see, they get a little squirrely trying to push. They should be able to hold on to the back of Carl Lingle here, but we'll wait to see as they get up to speed. And that would be an 8-car breakaway in the pack, and that might be enough for Bob Fitzgerald, Rick Sanchez, Jasper Riza, and Brandon Briggs to get back up to the lead pack. We'll see as these gaps close here, but right now it's that 5-car breakaway that they are trying to chase down. Dude Conrad now at the point in this one. He's got the help of 2 teammates still behind him. Shuffled in a little bit order, but it's still the 3 that have been up front for most of the beginning of this race. Dean Wilkinson obviously had the moment there when the 54 had his incident, the first yellow of the night. 55 has had a great recovery so far. You see Carl Lingle there had a really good pit stop himself. And it does look like everybody in the field is going to be able to catch up through the 12th position. Tom Dixon, we saw him come out of pit road without any help after running up front. Unfortunately, his teammate had the bobble off of what looked like a bobble on the out lap, not able to keep up with the 411, and going to lose a drafting partner for him, but he may slide back to Frank Ranger Jr., not sure. But Tom is about 4.5 seconds ahead of Frank Ranger Jr., who had potentially some trouble of his own, had a little bit of a slower pit time basically between the lines of pit road speed, a lot slower than everybody else by almost 10 seconds. So that might explain the gap that Frank Ranger Jr. has. And then Mike Rimkus further on back, we mentioned that looked like, obviously we didn't see it on camera, but we saw the smoke ahead of the leaders in the slower pace coming off of pit road, assuming that there might have been a little bit of a tire slide on that out lap for Mike Rimkus after the green flag pit cycle. But we have settled in. It is lap number 31 now that we are working on. It is still Pretty much 5-car breakaway in the inside lane. There's a couple cars further on back trying to see what they can do. The 68 and the 81 have been working that high side a decent amount tonight, trying to see what they can happen there. Just 2 cars in the outside lane, not enough momentum to get too far as of yet, but they're making a little bit of progress. Bob Fitzgerald might try and jump up there and work with them as well, but they are trying to make progress, the 2 of them, for the moment, as they are just about to the recorder panel of 3rd place Gabe Butler and peeking into the top 5 there in that outside lane. "32 laps to go. We've made it through our first green flag pit cycle after the early caution. Jasper Riza has a good run here with Brandon Briggs, a good push down the back straightaway, and they are going to try and grab the point position here. As you see them heading down, they're both going to be clear into turn 3, jumping down in front of the 8 of Dude Conrad, and it is going to be another new leader for this time by Jasper in the, I think it's the Flaming Hot Cheetos. It is Flaming Hot Cheetos. So the Flaming Hot Cheetos machine of Jasper Riza, that Toyota Supra, is at the front, working with Brandon Briggs tonight, trying to see what they can do to have a good race. So their team name in the Discord here is the Underdogs, so we're going to go with that. But the 68 and the 81, they definitely are a bit of an underdog, as they've got, obviously Team Boondock Esports are one of the most well-known teams and probably the longest standing teams that we've had here at Area 51. You see them knocking on the door. They make up the rest of the top 5 behind the Underdogs here. Definitely a really good start to this race for the 68 and the 81. Trying to work together to see if they can bring, obviously we had, last season, we had the Team Junk Food Racing, Maxwell Caldwell and all those guys, some of those guys not returning to the series here, but we've got a little bit of another junk food team here with the Cheetos and the Oreos, so love to see all the wonderful paint schemes that the guys in this league come up with, and definitely fun to see the creativity flow and honestly all the really great paint schemes that we see here at Area 51. And we're getting close to the halfway point in this one here, working on lap number 34 of the scheduled 75 laps. Again, after the first green flag pit cycle, we've got the top 12 here in the mix. We've got a couple stragglers, Tom Dixon, Frank Ranger Jr., Mike Rimkus, all off the pace, all single cars at the moment, and they are getting to the point where they are more than likely going to be caught by this lead pack, and then at that point it would be a battle for the lucky dog position to see who would be ahead if a caution were to come out later on. So that'll be very important for them to try and stay on that lead lap or be that first car 1 lap down if a yellow were to come out. But obviously even with the yellow that we had at first, there really wasn't any big, burst of intensity early on. It was just, obviously a simple mistake, unfortunately, for Patrick Gruber. 55 had a little bit of damage, took his fast repair, and is back out on the speedway. But other than that moment, like even in that moment, there was a lot of urgency there. Was just a simple mistake, and we've been pretty quiet so far. Obviously, the biggest thing documented was that caution on lap 1 before we even got to turn number 1, and then some of the pit stop woes for Tom Dixon, Frank Red Jr., Mike Rimkus, as we mentioned. So other than that, there really hasn't been too much going on. I'm trying to do what I can, at least to make it a little bit exciting for you guys in the broadcast, but we're doing our best here tonight. We're obviously without Guy L. Brooks, without Matt Wagner, and definitely appreciate them and their support, and hope to have them back in the booth again soon. So you'll be stuck with me for the rest of the night, but hopefully it's not too bad. I obviously enjoy doing this quite a bit and have a lot of fun, and hope to see both Matt and Gael back soon. But we're just about to the halfway point in this one, lap number 37 of 75, and we're gonna do another quick commercial break. We'll go side by side this time and hear again from our sponsor, Sensi.
At Sensi, we love fragrance. How it makes us feel, how it connects us to our deepest memories, how sharing those memories connects us with each other.
And as it turns out, there's a lot of people who feel the same way and share Sensi's core values of simplicity, authenticity, and generosity. Our beautiful campus in Meridian, Idaho welcomes employees, consultants, and the community year-round.
That's why we've grown from selling just warmers and wax to selling a complete line of products, so you can fill your life with fragrance no matter where your day takes you.
Whether it's fun partnerships with beloved brands, innovative, high-performing cleaning products, laundry care that smells as good as it works, or personal care products to create your signature scent, Sensi products are made to share.
Maybe that's why our culture has always felt like family. We call it Sensi Spirit. It's a feeling of love, acceptance, generosity, and community that we share freely with everyone we meet. And we welcome you to experience it yourself. Like it? Buy the product. Love it? Host a get-together with your friends. Want more? Start your own Sensi business. You can earn amazing trips around the world and rewards. You can work your business whenever and wherever you want, giving you more time for the things and people that matter most. Ask your Sensi consultant for more info.
And again, big thank you to Caitlin Decker for her support with bringing Sensi on board this season. Obviously, you saw the QR code there on the screen at the end of the commercial there. You can go back and pause that, and that'll take you to her page and link you to support her account there at Sensi, and gets it a little bit back to her, and as far as I understand at least. So want to make sure we support her for all the help that she's given to us in the broadcast here at Area 51. And as we mentioned that, we see the 48 of Ryan Decker trying to get up to the front there. Unfortunately lost his drafting partner. They caught up to Mike Rimkus, so he's the first car, or excuse me, the last car on the lead lap at the moment, behind leader Jasper Riza. Then you've got Brandon Briggs, Ryan Decker, Dude Conrad, Eric Laurie in the top 5 at the moment. And we've got another lap down car that we're going to catch here. This is going to be Frank Ranger Jr. this time by. We mentioned that we would be starting to catch some of these guys, and that will bring everybody into the pack together here. So one important thing for Frank Ranger Jr. at the moment is that he is the first car one lap down. Obviously, Mike Rimkus is at the head of this field, and Tom Dixon is even further ahead and about to be caught. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But as of right now, Mike Rimkus is not a lap down, which gives the 17 of Frank Ranger Jr. the lucky dog position if a caution were to come out. As we see a little bit of a bobble there between the 81 and the 48, but they keep it settled down and are still rolling straight. We're looking at lap number 42, and we are getting close to that second pit stop. Expecting that to be closer to the normal 20, 21, 22-ish lap range. Most of our drivers pitting at around between lap 23 and 27. Ooh, and there's a little bit of a slide off of turn number 2. The 81 makes some contact, and he gets pushed to the inside, and he's going to have to settle on back. Gets a little bit of a land grab at the moment here as we are scattered 3 wide, trying to make sense of where we want to be on the backstretch. Don't know if anybody else got a bunch of damage there. I'm not seeing anything on anybody else's vehicles. But definitely a little bit of a scary moment there for a second there, as looks like Jasper Riza and Jasper Riza's going to try and get to the point here, and he's going to pull out of line. But that's going to allow the 48 of Ryan Decker on through, and he's going to grab the lead with Tom Dixon in the mix here. So Tom Dixon now the first car one lap down. Carl Lingle is actually the third place car that you see scored, even though he's 5th in the order, as Jasper Riza is going to jump up to protect that third spot for the moment, and potentially trying to get back up to the front of this pack here. And so the 48 again is your leader at the moment, the 68 Jasper Reason and the 30 Carl Lingle, are trying to work on the high side to get back to the lead. And the 8, the 28, the 6, everybody on back is fourth position, but the 79 is the last car on the lead lap at the moment. The 41 teammate is the first car one lap down. If a yellow were to come out in this moment, they would, obviously the 79 would not be a lap down, so he would get to go to the tail end of the field, and the 411 would get his lap back, but the 68 is going to try and change that as he is making a push in the outside to get back up to the lead as Ryan Decker gets spun into the grass, and he's going to go for a ride. Just shoved out of line, unfortunately, for the 48 of Ryan Decker. No caution on the speedway for the single car incident, and he is going to be out of the draft and quite off pace, and that is going to be very difficult for the 48 to get back up to this pack at this point. The 68 of Jasper Riese continues on as the race leader. The 30 of Carl Lingle will be there in the outside lane. Then you see the 79 of Mike Rimkus and Tom Dixon there. Again, they are lap cars, and there has been a lot more chaos at the front of this one as there's a bunch of bobbing and weaving you see from the 79 on back. Brandon Briggs is still working in the outside lane by himself, but everybody else is just kind of simmering down. Ooh, and okay, yep, we see, sorry, never mind. We're seeing, shows that Ryan Decker went off track, but it looks like he is trying to just get to the pits at this point. So, unfortunate for him. And it looks like Mike Grimkus and Tom Dixon are going to come and pit this time by. So they're going to pit from the lap down position there. And we'll see. Hopefully without that lucky dog battle, that'll calm down things at the front of this pack. Jasper Riese continues to lead. 30 of Carl Lingle, Brandon Briggs, Dude Conrad, and Nick Wing are your top 5. Brandon Briggs says he wants a few more spots, and Jasper Riese is going to go up to block as they are, sorry, block actually working together there. So they're going to try and find each other and get back to the front of this one. As they are side by side with the 30 of Carl Lingle. Dude Conrad is going to fill the hole in the bottom lane, but the 68 and the 81 are going to have the push into the triangle. They're going to jump down to the bottom and get back up to the lead here. So Ryan Decker has jumped to the pits and is trying to get his service there. Definitely unfortunate for him, seeing him get shuffled on a line there with all the chaos in the front of this pack. And that's going to be tough, unfortunately, for him to come back from. I mean, obviously, Frank Ranger Jr. has not pit yet, but he's still in this pack. First car one lap down at this point. Tom Dixon, Mike Rimkus are technically 2 laps down, but awaiting that green flag pit cycle here. And we'll see if they can make their ways. A couple other names are going to come down pit road. It's going to be Dude Conrad, Team Bootnaka Esports drivers, Eric Laurie, Gabe Butler, Rick Sanchez, who's in a voice chat by himself tonight. We got Dean Wilkinson, Bob Fitzgerald, and Frank Ranger Jr. all in this time by. That's going to leave Jasper Riese, Brandon Briggs, Carl Lingle, Nick Wing, and Bud Steele out on the speedway. And we'll see how long these guys stretch fuel. Carl Lingle pitted on lap 24, Jasper and Brandon on 26, and Nick and Bud on 27. So could potentially be an issue for Carl Lingle if he cannot go the distance compared to the others. He may have to pit before they do, but we'll see what happens. And hopefully for the 30, he does not have to pit by himself, and he won't, as the 68 and the 81 are going to come this time by with him on lap 48. Nick Wing and Bud Steele pit last on lap 27. At this point, it's going to be so close for them to get to the end. I really doubt under green flag conditions that they're going to be able to do it, but they're going to try, and I assume stretch fuel as far as they possibly can. So they will be coming in, I'm assuming this time by, but they may actually have a couple laps to stay out. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I thought at the beginning that it wasn't going to be close enough the way the first caution fell for them to stay out and get rid of one pit stop cycle. But as of right now, they're still staying on the speedway, if they could stretch maybe 2 more laps of fuel, I think they could do it, but it's going to be very tight. As you see, they have found the 48 of Ryan Decker and the 17 of Frank Ranger Jr. A couple lap down cars scored in the 14th and 15th positions at the moment, as these guys still stay out. The pack further on back is starting to form back up. It's Dude Conrad, Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie, Dean Wilkinson, Jasper Riza, and Carl Lingle, and then Brandon Briggs should all be able to catch back up here. Rick Sanchez and Bob Fitzgerald are a little bit further back, but they found the 411 of Tom Dixon and the 79 of Mike Rimkus. So they do have a 4-car breakaway. They're about 3 seconds off the tail of Brandon Briggs, though, so that's going to mean that they're probably not going to catch that draft unless the 411 can push really well. There's just not enough momentum typically in a 4-car pack like this to make the same speeds, or sometimes if there is enough speed, it's not enough to surpass, obviously, what the larger pack is doing. But we'll see now. The 28 and the 6 are continuing to stay out on fuel. It is going to be 24 to go by the time they come in, and man, that is getting incredibly close to be able to push it to not having to pit again till the end. If they can pull that off, that could be an incredible strategy for this 28 and 6, as they're going to come in this time by and get their fuel. It looks like the 48 of Ryan Decker is going to pit again and stay with them and try to help out their teammates have a little bit more momentum in a 3-car pack than they do in a 2-car pack. So definitely some incredible sportsmanship from Ryan Decker to help those guys out, it looks like, as he did not need to pit, we don't believe, but we'll see where they net out to the field. So coming back to the rest of the field, the 8, the 88, the 071, and the 55 have actually broken away a little bit. And you'll see Carl Lingle is now about a second and a half or more back off the tail end of Dean Wilkinson, and that is growing. That gap is growing, unfortunately, for them. So this 3-car breakaway not connected to the top 4 at the moment, or at least who we would assume would be the top 4, but we'll see the 28, the 6, the 48. They're going to come out on off of pit road here. No mistakes, and they're going to try and be as aggressive as they can to get back up to the field. So they're going to catch back up to the 68, the 81, and the 30, but they are, again, reminder, the 28 and the 6 do not have to pit again. So the 48 of Ryan Decker presumably helping them save a little bit of fuel here. These guys are, the 28 and the 6 should not have to pit. If they can stretch it to 24 laps, they may not have to pit for the rest of this race. So we can expect to see them probably off the pace, potentially trying to save some fuel. But obviously we just don't know right now. We can't, obviously don't want to bug them while they're racing. So we'll speculate for now and see what comes to fruition. But 23 laps to go. It is the Team Bootnaka Esports drivers of Dude Conrad, Gabe Butler, and Eric Laurie broken away with the TW Motorsports entry of Dean Wilkinson here. They are the top 4 that are running away with it at the moment here. We'll have to wait and see if anybody can catch them, but it looks like Jasper Riza is making a good charge with Brandon Briggs and Carl Lingle in tow to get back up to that pack. They're within a second, so I think they should have enough to be able to catch those drivers. But obviously everyone here is going to have to pit at least one more time here tonight. But that should promote 7 cars into the picture here as far as who could potentially win this race here tonight. So a good little bit of a slower pit entry exit for the 68, the 81, and the 30, but they're going to catch back up to our leaders and be a 7-pack in contention for the win tonight. A little bit further on back, we've got Rick Sanchez leading the charge. Actually, Ryan Decker here leading the charge in this group. Taking one for the teams, a couple of laps down now at this point after getting spun off of pit road. Oh, and we've got a couple drivers making their final pit stop, actually. Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie, Duke Conrad, and Dean Wilkinson all working together. So they are going to come as soon as the window opens, and they are going to go to the end. And we'll see if the 68, the 81, and the 30 will respond here or not. But Jasper Reese is going to get promoted back up to the lead with the help of Brandon Briggs and Carl Lingle working with them a little bit here as well. And you see further on back, the 48 of Ryan Decker still leading the charge with Rick Sanchez. So Rick Sanchez is about 3 seconds behind Jasper, Brandon, and Carl in the lead at the moment. Then you've got Nick Wing and Bob Fitzgerald, and Jasper is going to come in. Wow, really squirrely there for him, but he gets it down to pit road. Brandon Briggs slides the tires just a little bit, and Carl Engel. So these three are going to work together and try to see what they can do, and we'll see where they net out back to the Team Bootnacker drivers and the TW Motorsports of Dean Wilkinson, trying to get back out on track. The window to the end obviously is open as people have started to come down pit road. The window, again, may already be open for the likes of Nick Wing and Bud Steele. They pitted on lap 51. They're going to have to stretch 4 more laps of fuel than anybody else in the field. But it could be possible for them, especially because they're riding back in this pack, and they are a little bit of a contact issue potentially for the 79 as Mike Rimkus is going to come down pit road. Saw potentially a tire flying off there, and not sure exactly what happened, but that might have been a glitch from iRacing as he is back up to speed there. But so to reiterate there, obviously the 48's a couple laps down, so he is helping these guys save a little bit of fuel. Rick Sanchez is going to have to pit one more time. Nick Wing and Bud Steele are trying not to pit again. And then Bob Fitzgerald, who pit with Rick Sanchez the last time, is going to probably have to pit one more time to the end. So they're just kind of waiting this out at the moment. They're riding behind, again, the lap car of Ryan Decker, following the drivers that have already pitted. Further on back in the field, Dude Conrad, Eric Laurie, Gabe Butler, and Dean Wilkinson are in a good 4-car pack at the moment. Carl Lingle here is by himself. Jasper Riza and Brandon Briggs are just the two of them, and they are disconnected as well. It's going to be really tough for these guys to get back up to that lead draft, especially because there's no connection there. So we'll keep an eye on that gap, but as of right now, Jasper has about a 5-second gap back to Dude Conrad, and we're just going to have to wait and see when the 5 and the 08 pit, and then if the 28 and the 6 can make it on field, because we are 18 laps to go. Like we said, obviously the window to the end is open. There's no way that Rick Sanchez or Bob Fitzgerald can make it. And I think Tom Dixon and Mike Rimkus, as well as Ryan Decker and Frank Ranger Jr. are going to have to pit one more time as well, it looks like. So, yeah, anything can happen, as we've seen. Obviously, we've already seen a couple retirees for the night for a multitude of interesting reasons that we've seen already, but we've been green flagged since the first yellow there on lap 1. Before we even got to the short chute, we had the yellow there into turn 1, actually, I believe, as I correct myself, but we are now 17 laps to go of the scheduled 75 lap distance here tonight on Thursday. The Xfinity Super Speedway Series here at Daytona. Rick Sanchez is going to come down this time by last week's winner, No Help, as he comes down pit road. That is going to be very tough if he cannot find a drafting partner to get back up to the pack. We knew he had about a 3-second deficit to most of the others running in the lead pack at the time before this final green flag pit cycle started, but that's going to definitely be difficult for him to recover from. So we'll see. Hopefully he can get someone out draft with and get back up to the front. But right now it is the, again, lap car of Ryan Decker. He's helping these guys save a little bit of fuel. Nick Wing and Bud Steele are potentially in a position to go 24 laps on their fuel tanks and stretch it to the end. The closer it gets, the more I believe they might be able to do it. They've got about a 28-second advantage over Dude Conrad, Eric Laurie, Gabe Butler, and Dean Wilkinson. So they don't have to push the issue here. They can definitely sit behind their teammates in Ryan Decker and just try to save as much fuel as they possibly can. Obviously the 411 of Tom Dixon, we saw he had a couple issues with the split pit sequence and not having a lot of drafting help from his teammate there, and that's put him back. He is currently scored the first car 1 lap down. We'll jump back. We still see the 8, the 071, the 88, the 55 are still in this group here Rick Sanchez came out by himself, but you see Jasper Reza, Brandon Briggs, and Carl Lingle. They are going to be able to pick up this 5 car here, and they should be able to draft together. I will have to keep an eye on it. That gap has grown, though, to about, I think they were about 5 seconds, if I'm remembering correctly. They were about 5 seconds behind Dude Conrad. They're now about 8 seconds. So this group here is going to have to get organized. They cannot be running side by side if these guys are going to want to try and get up to that lead. But the 81 and the 30 are going to try and push as hard as they can. Who knows? Maybe Jasper jumping on the line. Not sure if it's an overheating issue or what, or a fuel issue. But they're going to switch for now, and the 81 is going to get the push from the 30. And this 4-car breakaway is going to see what they can do to catch back up to Dude Conrad. Obviously, a couple lap cars sprinkled in throughout the mix, but we stay green. 14 laps to go. Again, Nick Wing is your leader at the moment. He's got a lap car behind him and ahead of him. He potentially does not need to pit for the rest of this race. Bob Fitzgerald in second does need to pit based on normal fuel mileage. It would be crazy if Bob didn't have to pit for the rest of this race, especially with the pace they're running. But he would have to go about 28 laps on fuel, and we've never seen anything close to that. But again, Nick Wing and Bud Steele pitting on lap 51. That's only 24 laps, and we do usually say that 21 to 22 laps is normal. So in a super safe condition, who knows if they can make this happen? That is going to be incredible. And I'm going to have to eat my words, because I said at the beginning of this one, when that caution fell on lap 1, I didn't think that anybody would be able to eliminate a pit stop with those 3 extra laps of fuel. But obviously, pitting on lap 3, the green flag coming back. Lap 4 coming to lap 5, working on lap 5, so that made a huge difference, and it may be enough here, but we've got 12 laps to wait it out and see. The 48 of Ryan Decker pit on the same lap as Bob Fitzgerald, so I'm assuming that he is going to have to come in. We know Tom Dixon and Mike Rimkus will as well, and they should be coming in momentarily. They pit on lap 44. Obviously, they're at completely different sides of the speedway at the moment, but Tom Dixon and Mike Rimkus on lap 44. That's obviously not even close. It's 31 laps to stretch, and there's no way that they can do that. So we'll see when the 411 and the 79 come down pit road. But we're expecting pit stops out of them, and the 08 and the 48. But other than that, again, just have to wait and see as laps click down for the 28 and the 6. Did they save enough fuel? Did they pit late enough to be able to make it? As looks like Mike Rimkus is going to be in this time by, so he's coming down pit road by himself. And yeah, 11 laps to go here. This is going to be an exciting finish. This is probably one of the closest fuel strategy races I think we've seen in quite some time here on Area 51, and we're just going to have to wait it out. I don't want to wait. Obviously, there's 11 laps to go, and I just want to see if the 28 and the 6 are going to have enough fuel in the tank to make it all the way back around. But nonetheless, we are down to 10 laps to go. And yeah, I mean, sometimes these fuel mileage races can absolutely be exciting. I know my counterpart, Matt Wagner, is not always a fan of fuel mileage races, but trying to make this one exciting, I mean, it's going to be very interesting. Like I've tried to mention, that that is a lot of laps to save for fuel. It helps, again, that they've got, Ryan Decker taking one for the team to help them draft. But it's going to be a lot of fuel for the 28 and the 6 to save, and if they can pull it off, I think it's going to be incredibly impressive, and hopefully we get a chance to talk to them about it. But they're going to come around the speedway, 9 laps to go this time by. Dude Conrad is actually only about 18 seconds back behind this pack, so not sure if that means that the 28 and the 6, the 411, the 08, all of these guys in this pack are laying back just a little bit to try and save extra fuel or not. But Eric Laurie is now going to lead the charge as the 8's going to jump to the high side. He's going to get the push from the 88. The 8's going to jump back in line behind the 55, and these guys are just pushing like crazy as they have made up now, I think, about 20 seconds, at least 10 for sure. Probably somewhere between 10 and 20 seconds. Wish I was paying attention more earlier. I know the gap was over 30, I think, at one point, but Eric Laurie now being pushed by the 88 They made up a lot of time, only 18 seconds behind Nick Wing, Bob Fitzgerald, and Bud Steele. As it sits, again, there's this 4-car breakaway that takes us through 7th place at the moment. 9 seconds off the tail of these guys is Jasper Riza, Brandon Briggs, Carl Lingle, and Rick Sanchez, and they are not gaining any ground, maybe trading a couple tenths back and forth here every other lap or so, but definitely unfortunate. The green flag pit cycles caught them off of cycle a little bit, and there's a little bit of disorganization. Too wide definitely does not help their case to try and catch back up to the leaders there. So that's going to be a pretty big deficit with this breakaway. Now they're about 10 seconds behind Eric Laurie and losing a bunch of ground that last lap. But we're going to see Bob Fitzgerald's going to come in this time by, and so is Tom Dixon. They're going to have to get their final stops of the night. Obviously, Bob pitting from 3rd place. We're going to see he's probably going to come back out, I would think, behind the likes of Rick Sanchez, unless he can have some good drafting help, as he's already been passed by the Team Butanaka Esports drivers and is slowly being caught by Jasper Riza and company. So 7 laps to go. Ryan Decker probably won't be able to make it to the end himself. Again, he pit on lap 47, but with how much off the pace the 28 and the 6 are, it seems like they are saving a ton of fuel, and I think it'd be absolutely incredible to see if these guys can make it. They're going to lose their rabbit that they're chasing. Obviously, I've mentioned it plenty of times, but the 48 got spun off of the backstretch, and no caution for that event, but he comes back out on the speedway. Pitting on lap 47, he's absolutely not going to be able to make it, but the 28 and the 6 are trying to do what they can. You can see the gap is now 14 seconds back to Eric Laurie and Gabe Butler, and at this point, obviously when they pit on lap 54, they made their bet, when they pit on lap 51, they made their bet, and they're going to have to try and lie in it. As you see, the 28 and the 6 are going to swap positions for the moment and try to hold on to their rabbit of Ryan Decker as long as they possibly can until he has to come and pit for fuel. It's going to be 5 laps to go at the line. 13 seconds is your gap back to Eric Laurie, Gabe Butler, Dude Conrad, and Dean Wilkinson. And you know that these guys are pushing as hard as they possibly can without overheating. The 88 of Gabe Butler all over the back bumper of the 071 of Eric Laurie. Good connection from the 8 and the 55. A really good 4-car pack here. Looks like that's the 79 of Mike Rimkus is going to join them as well. But, we'll see. It's coming down to 12.7 seconds as we're going to be at about 4 laps. Will we be exactly at 4 laps to go when they cross the stripe this time by? And we have a caution on the speedway to change everything. So the yellow flag has come out. It is the second caution of the night. And we're going to try and get a replay of that for you now. Looks like Dude Conrad was involved. Gabe Butler in the 88 potentially involved as well, as these guys are just trying to push as hard as they can. We'll grab a TB2 view of it and try to rewind this here. And just trying to get everything that they possibly can. Unfortunately, a little bit of an accordion effect. Potentially, I don't know if that was... that was a weird jump from the 88, though. That may have been an iRacing issue, and not just an issue for that, but that was... Let's try and see if we can take it back one more time from a different camera angle at least, and see if we can understand where or what happened here. Let's try this one here as they come out of the corner. But you saw the 88 just kind of, the car kind of lurches forward here. And I'm not sure if he blew up or what, but obviously he slowed down quite a bit very quickly. and got into the back. The 8 got into the back of him, and that's going to bring this yellow flag out for tonight. Not That's really curious because it doesn't seem like that was a mistake. The way that the car kind of lurched forward and back on the 88, but not sure. I mean, it could have been he could have blown up from overheating, but we would have definitely expected to see a puff of smoke when that happened. So really doubting that that is the case. Man, we are going to have a green-white checkered here now, as it is going to be, again, it's a second caution. The 6 of Bud Steele and the 28 of Nick Wing are going to have to save a lot of fuel here under yellow flag conditions, so they would have barely had enough fuel to get back to the green flag. And it looks like they're going to have an issue, I'm assuming, with the green-white checkered with fuel. I'm not sure. I'm obviously just speculating, but and I guess thanks, Gael, jumping in there. It's the car jump glitch again. It definitely did not seem like that was on the 80. It looked like that was more of an iRacing issue itself, but unfortunate nonetheless. So, I don't think that Bud Steele and Nick Wing, they would have barely made it on field to get to the end, but they are going to have to... we'll see if they're going to have to pit for fuel or not, because it's going to stretch their field quite a ways. But we are going to, while we have a moment, take a quick, another quick commercial break and hear from Whiplash Sim Cams. Alrighty, we are just about ready to get back here. And you see the pace car with the lights out. The 6 and the 28 are lined up side by side. They're coming down the back straightaway. We're going to see if they have enough fuel to make it to the end here or not. It is going to be an extension of a lap or two under yellow for the green-white checkered. And it is going to be awfully close on fuel for the 6 of Bud Steele and the 28 of Nick Wing. Eric Laurie is going to line up on the inside lane. Outside lane, row number 2, will be Jasper Riza. So Jasper Riza and the 81 of Brandon Briggs will be lined up nose to tail. Teammates working together tonight. Going to try and see what they can do to get, obviously get one back here and get back up to the pack and try to make something happen. Carl Lingle is going to start in the 5th position. He's had a pretty good night, but obviously got disconnected from the pack with the 68 and the 81. Gabe Butler, Jude Conrad are further on back. Obviously, they pit for damage repair and for tires and fuel. Rick Sanchez now finds himself in the 7th position, as well as Bob Fitzgerald in the top 8. So a little bit of a recovery for those guys who unfortunately lost the draft but are catching back up. And we are going to let this be decided by a green-white checkered here on Green-White Checkered TV. Bud Steele is going to lead us back to the green flag, and we are going to see if they have enough fuel to make it to the end. Him and Nick Wing. It is going to be incredibly close. They pit last on lap 51. They stay out for the track position here, and we are 2 laps to go. They're going to have to put the foot to the floor. There is no saving at this point. They're going to try and win this one and see if they have enough to make it back around the 5 miles in this green-white checkered here. As we are getting a little turn, the 071 is sliding to the inside of the track. Eric Laurie's going to hit the inside wall. We stay green, though, and he's not going to just barely make contact there. Green flag is still out on the speedway. Jasper Riza in the outside lane there. He's got the push from Rick Sanchez. Rick, our winner last week, I should say. He's got the push in the high lane. No help for the 28 Nick Wing on the bottom, and they come back to get the white flag. Jasper's on the inside, and the 5 of Rick Sanchez, I think, is the one who saw the white flag as the leader, and we're going to see the momentum is in the outside lane right now, but Bud Steele and Dude Conrad are coming, and they're going to give a big push to the 5, and they're going to turn him, and they're going to turn the front of the field as the 68 continues on. Does anybody else have enough momentum? It is going to be the 68 by himself. Oh my gosh, everybody is wrecking behind him, and Jasper Riza is going to be clearing away to win this race, barring any other chaos. And we'll see as he gets up into the wall off of turn number 3, trying to come. He's got a 5-second lead over Bob Fitzgerald. Jasper Riza is going to coast on home and win his first race here in Area 51 completely by himself. And we're going to jump on back because Bob Fitzgerald has no front end and is going to come home to finish second. And further on back, it is going to be Dean Wilkins to finish third. Oh my gosh, what a crazy first lap and a crazy final lap and a lot of green flag action in between. That was probably the craziest race that I can think of in recent history in Area 51, and Jasper Riza gets the second chance after falling off of the pace on the green flag pit cycles. He gets to restart in the top 5. He has some help from his teammate, and chaos ensues behind him. Everybody else but him involved in the incident in the final lap, and he is going to come home victorious. And I know for sure that this is a first-time winner because this is his 3rd or 4th race in the series. So a first-time winner for Jasper Riza. Obviously a good comeback from last week, but oh man, we'll try and decipher the finishing results here before we get to those interviews. And we'll bring up the rest of those race results just to make sense of where everybody else ended up here. So we saw Jasper, Bob, and Dean coming home in the top 3 spots. Everybody else just pretty much grabbing a gear and going as fast as they can to get back to the start-finish line. Nick Wing is going to get credited with a 4th place finish. I cannot believe he even had enough fuel to make it back to the start-finish line, let alone the incident. Rick Sanchez with a solid top 5 after unfortunately getting turned there and starting that big event. Nothing of his own doing, but just a big head of steam behind him, and he got honestly a little bit run over, but still coming home a top 5 after that chaos. And then Tom Dixon, after being a lap down a decent amount of the night, he got the second chance there as well. He's going to come home in the 6th position. Carl Lingle there in 7th, and some of the Team Bootnaka Esports drivers further on back, Eric Laurie and Gabe Butler. Brandon Briggs is going to finish 10th. Definitely not the finish he deserved after the help he gave to his teammate Jasper Riza there at the end, just collected in the chaos himself. We see Bud Steele there, again, still amazed that he even made it back to the start-finish line after the chaos that we saw. And then Dude Conrad also involved in that last lap incident. Mike Rimkus, Frank Ranger Jr., Ryan Decker in the top 15 documented their woes from tonight. Obviously, definitely not the night that they were hoping to have. And then we saw Seth Groover and Ambrose Kniebel retire early, unknown as far as the condition of what happened to their nights, but unfortunate for them. And then we saw Patrick Groover involved in the incident on the first night, and such a shame because definitely got to fix something within iRacing because he was not able to take that fast repair, and assuming with the motor blown, had at least 30 minutes of required repairs, and obviously that kind of takes you out of the running. So, man, that was that was an absolute crazy event, and we'll try to catch up with our top 3 here and see what they had to say. So I think the first one we'll be bringing up is Dean Wilkinson here. We'll get everybody organized a little bit here with our interviews before we bring those drivers up. We'll pull in. I'm not seeing. Oh, there we go. Okay, I think we've got everybody in the quiet room. and we'll bring them up here one at a time. So, starting with Dean Wilkinson here, up into the broadcast booth. Man, what a I think I know we've said a couple drivers had a chance to have a pretty solid comeback, but I think you more than most because we saw you get involved with the incident with the 54 on lap one. Man, take us through everything that happened behind your driver's seat here tonight, Dean.
Well, I sum it up as bad luck turned to good luck. I mean, yeah, it was just bad luck that Mr. Groover's engine blew when he missed shift. I was okay. We got around. I just, used to ride at the back, save. I have no quick fix left, so wait for that big wreck to happen, which never did, which, was great. Um, I got behind the boot knockers, running good, and then that crazy neck code near the end. Bad luck again. Got a little bit of repair done, enough that I could run, almost catch the pack, but I lost it. Thankfully, because I drove through all those wrecked cars, and look at this, third. It's crazy. It was just a crazy finish.
Yeah, that was absolutely crazy. We definitely did not expect that at all. But it was, I mean, it was a great race to watch for sure. And I wanted to actually ask you. I know obviously you linked up with the team Bootknocker guys there. You were catching them in a hurry. Obviously, I think when the final caution flew, you were somewhere in the range of like maybe 10 seconds behind. Were you guys expecting the 6 and the 28 to be able to make it on fuel, or did you think that you'd be able to catch them even if they could make it on fuel?
Honestly, I had no idea where they were. I'm running with Bob and Tom, and Bob said that they had pitted shortly after him and thought that they could make it, and I didn't know how they would do it, but I guess they were saving. They must have been, running pretty slow or saving because Bud did say that he would have made it. So yeah, it's good on them. Good fuel saving.
Yeah, we saw they pit last in lap 51, and I mean, obviously, most of the excitement towards the end of that race was going to see if they were going to make it or not. So it was definitely, yeah, it was definitely pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, bringing it back to you, I mean, maybe a little bit of a horseshoe, I'm not sure, but definitely some saving grace for you tonight, involved in a couple incidents there. Obviously, we saw, looked like, I know Guile mentioned might have been the car jump glitch, but definitely looked like it was on iRacing's end when the 88 kind of lurched forward and back, and you guys got, you kind of got a piece of that as well. But seems like you got two great saving graces, and then just barely involved in the chaos at the end to get back to third place. I mean, that's have you can you think of a more crazy finish or a race overall that you've been a part of?
No, like
Yeah.
I said over admin, that's the quickest I ever lost a quick repair. I've never, in all the time I've been on iRacing, lost a. I mean, as an A driver, I've never lost a quick fix that fast. It was crazy. So yeah, I got lucky.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, definitely the racing gods are looking out for you, and glad you're able to recover there. And obviously, I mean, nothing, none of that was, it was all pretty much out of your hands. Nothing you did wrong for pretty much any of that. But along for the ride, and still came home to that third place finish. So we'll roll that red carpet out for you now for any thanks or shout outs for that podium you got there tonight, Dean.
Well, I want to thank the guys I ran with tonight: Tom Dixon, Bob, Mike, um, yeah, TW Motorsports. Thank you guys for the broadcast. I'm going to go back here and watch it. It's always enjoy that. Area 51, of course, love this league. Good drivers. Thank you to the drivers. Always thank you to the drivers. We got a lot of good drivers in here, so without good drivers, we don't have a good race. So thank you.
Awesome, Dean. Well, congratulations once again, and yeah, congratulations on that crazy third place finish there for you tonight.
Thank you. And congrats, Jasper Risa,
Yeah.
number 68. Good win.
All right, thanks, Dean, and we will continue on. We've got the '08 of Bob Fitzgerald with an interview here. I know Matt's a big fan. Matt's a big fan of yours, Bob. So unfortunately, we can't have Matt here tonight to interview you as well. But that was, we already talked to Dean. Obviously, Dean was involved in pretty much every yellow that we had here tonight. And we saw you come home without a front nose at all, but enough momentum to come home in second place. I mean, what an up and down night, and take us through what it looked like for you.
Um, well, early on, Dean had to use a quick repair, so he stayed in the back with me, and we worked together, and so that worked out okay. And the last pit stop, uh, I was praying for a yellow, and obviously it didn't come out because the other guys had a really good pit strategy. But what a wild last lap that was! Just pure luck on my part. There's no skill involved other than driving straight.
Yeah, that
I feel
was.
bad. I wasn't
Okay.
quick enough on the brakes, and I got into Gabe pretty good, and um, but it happened so quick, so I was on the brakes.
Yeah, actually, perfect timing with the replay. You can see it happening, unfolding here, the chaos on the
Yeah,
last lap. But yeah, it's I mean, obviously not really much that you could do when it unfolds in front of you, but able to keep the momentum there and keep it rolling. But I did want to ask. I know you kind of obviously there's a lot of split strategies on fuel towards the end there. Um, obviously the yellow comes out towards the very end, last couple laps or so. What's your mindset there when you're sitting? I think if I'm not mistaken, you restarted in the top six, and we're sitting there like, what's your mindset going into that green white checkered with, is it a completely fresh renewed like, oh hey, I got the shot to win this, and at that point you're going full throttle after all the ups and downs of the race. Like what's going through your mind as you're restarting there?
yeah. Well, before that pit stop, I was P2, um, just by the cycle, and then when I came out of the pits, I was P8. I believe I was 8, not 6. And I was thinking, well, this isn't terrible. And see what happens. And obviously we saw what happened.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. Obviously I asked Dean about it because I think he was involved in literally every single incident we had pretty much tonight. But I mean, can you think of a crazier race that you've been involved in recent memory there, Bob?
Not recently, no. That was. I'm glad I looked at the replay before I talked to you. Um, I didn't realize how crazy it was until I saw it. But yeah, me and Tom Dixon worked together for a lot of laps, and then when we pit, I had trouble coming out of pit road. I keep forgetting it's Daytona, not Talladega. It's Talladega, you can pretty much go flat out on pit exit,
Right.
but not here. So the not the last pit stop, the one before it, I got really squirrely. I thought I was going to lose it and get a penalty and all that, but it worked out. It was fun. The whole race was fun and crazy, crazy, crazy.
Yeah, indeed. Well, congratulations again, Bob, on that second place finish, and want to roll that red carpet out for you now for any thanks or shout outs you'd like to give there.
Well, thanks to my TW teammates, Dean and Tom and Mike. Thanks to you guys, Boomer. You guys really do a classy job with the broadcast, and it's so much fun to watch it. And I always learn after I watch it, and sometimes I don't put it into practice what I learn, but I learn. But I appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Bob, and congratulations once again, and hope to talk to you again soon.
All right, take care, Boomer. Thanks.
You as well, buddy. Alrighty, so we've got what should be, if my math is correct, a first time winner in Area 51. in the number 68 Toyota Supra, Jasper Riza. So I know we talked a little bit a couple weeks ago when you first joined the league, but if I'm not mistaken, you found us through the broadcast. Is that correct on YouTube here?
Well, I spotted for Brandon Briggs.
That's
I
right.
was
That's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was just looking through leagues, looking for someone in the spot, and just happened to land on Brandon Briggs. Spotted him. He was like, "Hey, you want to join the league?" I was like, "Sure," and here we are.
Yeah, that is crazy, and I apologize. Didn't mean to mess that story up, but I mean that's such a cool thing. Just obviously, no matter what, it was a coincidence, and
Oh yeah.
hopped in with Brandon, and now here you guys are running as what is it? The team underdogs, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken,
The
right?
underdogs. Yep.
Yeah. So this is your third start. Is that correct? Third or
Third or
fourth?
fourth.
Third or fourth.
Yeah.
Okay, somewhere in there. Yeah. Man, I know. Obviously, usually have Matt Wagner up here in the booth with me, and he loves to, and I do too. But love to see first-time winners, and I mean, it's so cool. I think it's such a cool story that just by chance, you've been, you found the league, and here you are, just a few weeks later, less than a month later, and you're winning your first race. So we'll get into that now. I mean, obviously, it was a bit of a crazy race. You were kind of staying up there with the front runners. I mean, obviously, you and Brandon were controlling that race for a good bit of time, especially towards the middle portions there, and just with the pit cycles fell back a little bit. The final yellow comes out. I mean, it seems like that was kind of a complete reset, refresh. Like, hey, let's go get this, and you guys didn't seem to miss a beat after that.
Yeah. 100%. Our strategy didn't really work out like we hoped it to, but that last caution really was kind of light at the end of the tunnel moment, and I was talking to Briggs and I was like, I'm gonna win it on this one. This is where it's happening. And unfortunately, it happened the way it did with everybody wrecking out behind me. But it was a good time. It was a real good time.
Yeah, that looked like a lot of fun, and obviously, I mean, by chance hopping in with Brandon, you guys are now running together. Brandon's definitely. I mean, it's been cool to see him running up front, having a pretty solid season so far. I know, obviously, last week I think it was iRacing Super Speedway. I don't think either of you really got the finish that you guys deserved because you were in the conversation there as well. And obviously, thanks to the a little bit of a saving grace from the yellow. You guys are starting to put yourselves in contention, and obviously with a little bit of help with that yellow, and then some chaos coming on behind you, you guys are able to bring it home. So that's got to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I can't do it without him. He's been such a good teammate since I joined this league. We've just been working together like bread and butter, and today it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, that's been definitely awesome to see. I mean, it's really cool to see like that immediate turnaround to get in here and have some fun. But obviously, you said you're perusing some of the league tabs, league pages, and different leagues and stuff like that. Don't have a lot of history here, but in your previous experience from other leagues and everywhere else you've raced, have you experienced a race quite as crazy as that? Because I'll be honest, most of the other drivers are saying this was honestly a pretty crazy start. I mean, the first lap and the last lap were probably some of the craziest first and last laps I think I've seen here in a long time. But how does that compare to some of your own experience in some of your other leagues?
Yeah, well, actually, this is my first league. I've been racing since 2019 in iRacing, and just the regular races, they get pretty crazy, they get pretty wild, but I've never ever seen a finish like this before. Maybe two or three cars will finish, but I've never seen one car finish by itself.
Yeah, definitely. I know we've seen a few where there's like a one or two or three car breakaway, but I don't think I've ever seen a one car breakaway finish. So, yeah, definitely a lot of fun. And now we'll give you that opportunity. We'll roll out that red carpet and give any chances you want for any thanks or shout outs for your first win here at Area 51.
100%. I want to first of all thank my teammate Brandon Briggs for pushing me to that win. Unfortunately, it ended the way that it did for him, but he's doing pretty good in the championship right now. So our team focus today was to get me in the top 12, and I think that really worked out. Second, I want to thank my family, my mom, my dad, my brother. 100%. They were watching this race today, and my dad actually came up when I was in the channel below, congratulated me, stuff like that. It was awesome. And I want to thank my girlfriend. She's also watching this race, supporting me through this. It's been a great time in this league so far, and hopefully this is first of many.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you obviously joining the league a little bit by chance, but we're excited to have you here, and obviously selfishly as part of the broadcast, appreciate you bringing some followers along to help boost our numbers. So definitely a lot of fun. Always great to see a first-time winner, and congratulations, and hope to talk to you again very soon, Jasper.
Thank you so much. Definitely.
Alrighty, so that was one of, like I said, one of the craziest races I think we've seen. If you take out the first lap and the last lap, there was a lot of green flag, really great action in the middle, like we saw even last week, but probably even more just unexpected chaos in between. Obviously, we saw the incident with the 54 and the 55, a little bit of a money shift at honestly, before we even got into turn one. And then we saw a little bit of the iRacing netcode, car jump glitch, whatever you want to call it, some things that iRacing may need to fix there with the 88 as he was trying to give a push to his teammate and unfortunately took out those guys and put them a little bit further back in the pack, unable to do anything. And then obviously all chaos broke loose as we got into turn one, a big run from the back and took out every car except for the one you see on your screen there, Jasper Riza coming home, bringing the Flamin' Hot Cheetos number 68 Toyota Supra to victory lane for the first time in either his third or fourth start here at Area 51. Obviously, we can't script any of this, but that is probably one of the coolest things that we could have dreamed up for this season so far. And yeah, it's been that was a lot of fun to watch, and appreciate everyone watching along with us. So. Getting into future broadcasts here, so we will be back at Talladega Super Speedway next week on June 27th. The following week will be Independence Day here in the United States, so we'll take that off for the holiday, and then we'll be back in Atlanta on July 11th, followed by Daytona once again, July 18th. And that will take us to the end of the regular season and into our 4-week playoff for the championship here. So a couple weeks more of action before we get to that cutoff. We'll start showing more of the points and talking about that as we get into the bread and butter here as we pass the halfway point of the regular season here with the race tonight. And then looking ahead to the schedule for the Sunday Super Truck Series. They are going to be at iRacing Super Speedway on June 23rd, so that should be this Sunday. May have a chance to broadcast that myself, not sure just yet, but if not, hopefully we'll have Gael Brooks back in the chat or in the broadcast. But definitely thinking about him tonight. Obviously not able to be here with us, and Matt as well not able to be here. So appreciate those guys and hope to see them back in the booth very soon. But nonetheless, Area 51 will be back on Sunday, June 23rd at iRacing Super Speedway. And then we will have Daytona the following week, and then we'll keep clicking off every week until we get to Talladega. Will be the start on July 28th of the playoffs there. So we've got iRacing Super Speedway, Daytona, Talladega, and Atlanta coming up back to back to back to back. On Tuesday nights, we've also got the IndyCar series that we need to plug as well. And 2 days ago, they had their road course race at Interlagos, and they are going to be back at the Milwaukee Mile next week. That is June 25th. They're going to take a week off for the week of the 4th of July as well. And then following that, so July 9th, they'll be back again on at Charlotte. And then they'll continue on their season as they've just got the straight standard points championship as usual per the IndyCar the style of the IndyCar series as well in real life. So keep an eye on those dates. Always appreciate the crossover from different nights and all of the support that we have here. Obviously the chat staying pretty active tonight, even with a shorter field, and appreciate everybody coming out to say hi and rooting on their team or just commenting on the race. Obviously, for us up here in the broadcast booth, one of the best ways to promote the league and hear and get our name out there is through YouTube, the broadcast. So appreciate all that help there and everybody hanging out with us and obviously doing what we do and having fun doing it. So for myself, Boomer Logan, and the rest of the Green White Checkered TV crew, will be signing off for tonight. We hope you have a great week and take care.